Yo, yo, yo. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another stream over here on YouTube. It's a bit of a weird day, actually. Not a super weird day. I have streamed on this day before, but at least in regards to a day where we wouldn't be doing something different than just having a chat. You know what I mean? Like, usually this would be a stream where we did, like, or a day, might I say, where we would do, like, one of those Hunger Games streams or one of those bracket challenge streams or something interactive and stuff like that. But it's not. It's just one of those back and forth streams, if you want to put it. I will get into the reasoning why in a second, but I'll say hello to everyone. So hello, Eric. Hello, Aliba, Michael, Justin, Ben, GPG. I was going to say myself for a second there. Lucky, PB&J. Did I say DJ Sleet? I think I might have. Not too sure. But welcome, everyone that's coming in. Lord Meager. Yeah, pretty big week, a bigger week than I thought would actually be the case. Because I actually just remembered now that it's not even just some of the shows and a movie trailer. We also have that CW thing, which might confirm the fate of, well, maybe not confirm the fate, but tease the fate of, what do you call it? Superman and Lois. So, yeah. Hello, Cameron Smith, to hear. But yeah, so the main reason I'm streaming today is because on Wednesday, for me at least, it's Tuesday for most of you, but that's when the new Flash movie trailer comes out. And my plan, depending on when the trailer gets released, but I think I know what time the trailer is getting released, so I have a decent idea. But I'm going to be streaming on Twitch to react to that trailer like we did with the first one, which is on the day of Superman Lois. Actually, that's probably the best way to put it. It's on the day that Superman Lois is coming on that trailer comes out. And I would normally stream tomorrow to make up for the fact I wouldn't stream on that morning when I normally would, but tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm not going to stream on my birthday. I'm a bit busy. Well, I probably stream really early in the morning, but also don't want to at the same time. So I thought we'll stream today, have a chat back and forth today, and then hopefully in 2 days from now we can stream on Twitch and react to the Flash movie trailer. And then that day there's Superman and Lois as well, and the day after that there's the Oliver Queen return episode on the Flash. So it's actually a very hectic week, and a bit more hectic than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, so that's the plan. That's why we're streaming today. I really wasn't going to. Actually, a video coming out in like 2 hours from now. But I thought, you know what, we'll do it today because I couldn't find a slot where I was going to be able to do it at a reasonable time in the next couple of days. But yeah, thank you for the early birthday messages. Yeah, this year's gone so fast. I feel like yesterday it was Christmas. Everything goes way too fast. But I'll just get to the first super chat. So shout Aru, hopefully that's the correct way to pronounce it. How did Oliver buzz his hair in the afterlife? Well, I guess, I don't know if I'm the only one in this thinking, but I guess Oliver would just be able to make his hair however he wanted it to look like. I mean, because he's not alive, he's dead. But he's dead but alive at the same time. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it. He's dead but alive at the same time. So that's sort of that he can just do what he wants. I mean, he could give himself a mullet. He could give himself a mohawk. I don't know, locks. I don't know what. He could give himself a lot of different things if he wanted to. But I think he probably goes with the base. This is probably what Oliver Queen would look like for the most part. So that's probably why he does it. That's probably the best way to put it. I'm not too sure what this is. Is this about... No, I'm assuming this is about the Oliver Queen return episode. No, from what we know, it'd be on, well, I guess Netflix come the end of the season, or Netflix this week, depending on where you live. I know it goes to Netflix in whatchamacallit, different countries, like Canada gets it on Netflix and stuff like that. But is everyone excited for this episode? Because this has been an episode that we've known has been coming for I don't want to say ridiculously a long amount of time, but we've been hoping it would happen. And now it's happening, and it's happening probably in a better way than I think a lot of people were predicting. A lot of people just wanted Oliver Queen to show up and go, hey, it's me. But there's actually like a better like flow around it, a better story around it. So like I'd be surprised if someone wasn't looking forward to it, but it probably depends on how much you liked Arrow, maybe. But then again, you have Wally West coming back as well, and Bloodwork. So I guess it's a bit for everyone. Netflix UK doesn't even have Arrowverse. It's over here on Netflix sometimes, but another streaming service I think gets it before, I think, after the season. So I think Flash has been on Australian Netflix, but it's or an Arrow, but like they're not the main streaming service that they go to over here. I think. I'm pretty sure at the very least. To be honest, I don't really watch. I have them on like the Blu-ray and stuff like that. If I want to rewatch them, might I say. I want to thank GPG for the £4. Happy birthday, dude. Well, happy birthday for tomorrow. Just don't want to correct you, but yeah. Thank you very much for that. You're talking about the Flash movie? Yeah, it is. I think it got confirmed that it's in the fall. I think I saw something was like, because I think HBO Max, like they changed their name to Max and everything like that. I think in that thing they announced like the slate of movies that were coming over like in the rest of the year, and the Flash was put in the fall or something like that. So yeah, in the fall. So what, back quarter of the year? That's when the Flash movie will be there. But it probably depends how long the movie's in theaters. It depends how well it goes. It could go to HBO Max earlier, depending on that. Sorry, I was just looking through the chat. There was something I wanted to see. Levi said, part of me is a bit hyped, but the other side this season so far has made me 6 feet under. Yeah, but I think the difference here is that there's actually like, you got to remember, like a lot of the stuff they've been writing has been stuff that didn't sound like it was going to be good anyway. Like, do you know what I mean when I say that? Like the characters that they were using anyway didn't really raise the potential of what it could be too high. It's not like it went, oh my God, using this character, it should definitely be a 9 out of 10. Like all the stuff that they've used so far this season, it's not like it was this like big possibility or big probability that it would be good. It's different this time around because we're using Oliver Queen, Wally West, Diggle, Bloodwork all coming back for an episode. And then Cobalt Blue, which is a storyline which I don't want to say everyone because it's definitely not everyone, but a good amount of people have been wanting to see for a while. So expectation, that's the word to put it. The expectation is a bit higher. And I've said it for a while. I think I said it like when we're halfway through the Red Death thing and they just really wasn't delivering, and I could see most people weren't enjoying it. And I was like, yeah, I don't think the rest of this first half's going to be great, but I think the back, 5-6 episodes or whatever it is, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. And I stand by that. And everything I've seen so far, I stand by that. I think there's going to be little things with like characters that shall not be named that people aren't going to really be vibing with. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty solid. What'd you say? Nah, Paige, I disagree. Red Death could have been good if it was a good actor. They made him. It has nothing to do with who they picked to be Red Death. It's how it was the execution. So I disagree with that. I mean, I think most people knew that Red Death was going to be Batwoman. I think everyone knew that was going to be the case. So yeah. Did you know about the Gotham Knights basic on video? I'm not too sure what that means, Eric. The expectation of Barry vs. Thorne for the final graphic novel was higher than Cobalt Blue. Do you mean people just thought that would be the case? I'm assuming that's what you mean, their path, which I can understand. I think logically it makes sense that you'd expect, Barry versus Thorne, but they did that last season because they were unsure whether last season was going to be the final season. At this point, you can't just repeat it. You can't just do that again. If that didn't happen, I could 100% understand being like, I would prefer Barry versus Thorne, but it already happened last season. So I'm assuming you're thinking of that in like the context of just how a show of like The Flash should be shaped, which I can understand. I agree with, but because of what they did last season, I think it would be pointless. I think it'd be wasting time just doing it again because they did it last season, unless it was the Matt Letcher one. But even then, it's like it's post-crisis, different. The timelines have sort of changed up a bit. How would it go about handling things? So I think Cobalt Blue is the best way to do it, especially because of how everything's been said and what we know. It ties together and makes a lot of things full circle, which I'm very, very excited for. Like, as I've said before, Eric Wallace said if you watch episode 17 through to episode 23, or episode 17 through to the end of season 1, you get the full scope of things as to how they're going about the Cobalt Blue storyline. He says those 7 episodes, I think, if I can count, 7 episodes are very important for that storyline. What did Path say? Yeah, that is what I meant, as it was meant to. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's what you meant. Yeah, I thought it would be the case. I don't know how I could watch last season and be like, oh, they have to do that again. Savitar with a lot good one. No, what do you mean, like villain? No, I thought like I think DeVoe's still a very good villain. Just if you take that body swapping out. But the thing is, if you criticize that with DeVoe, you also criticize the stuff with Savitar towards the end when they sort of drop the ball a bit there. Cicada, you're not going to write home about Cicada or Mirror Master. Bloodwork's really good. I will defend Bloodwork to the end of days. Armageddon didn't really have a villain. It was just more I guess it's Reverse Flash. I like Deathstorm, though I didn't really. But Deathstorm's very basic. He was just like cool. That's about it. There wasn't much there, but he was just like cool looking. And obviously Red Death wasn't great, and that's it so far. I think so. I saw it, chat. I just wanted to get to the next thing. Ramsey Eroso. Thank you, Shadaru. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I think that's Shadaru. I think that's how I'm pronouncing it correctly. Ramsey Rosso remembers Earth 1 event somehow. I do. Well, so he was. All this stuff happened. The only thing I can think of, and I might be wrong, but he might just be tapping into like Barry's psyche or something like that. Because you know how he got into like Barry's memories back in season 6 and was able to like torment Barry. It could be that. We'll have to wait and see. But then again, the issue around that and like the logic around that is that we've seen like random ass characters being like, oh, I know this thing that happened pre-crisis because I need to just for the ease of things. So in a cool way, they could make it that maybe he like taps into Barry's head or like even Wally's head maybe, or whatever it might be. And that's how he knows certain things and remembers certain things or knows certain events. But unfortunately, that Becky Sharp in that random episode from 4 episodes ago, whatever it was, she knew about Crisis and pre-Crisis, and it didn't really make any sense. So, cool version. He taps into like Barry's head or maybe Wally's head if Wally remembers, or even like people at the party who might remember. Lame way, it's just that like they just write it in that it's just easy. Oh, show tarot. Show Taro. Hopefully, okay. Show Taro. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. Okay, I wasn't too sure. I thought it might have been Japanese. if that's what it is, but I wasn't too sure. I'm thinking. So this is about Superman and Lois. I think Bruno could be an unlikely ally to Superman against Lex. You know, the enemy is my friend. Maybe. I think it depends if they show that Bruno Mannheim did anything super bad, I don't think you can make him an ally. I don't know. But then again, they haven't really shown him doing anything too bad. They've shown him trying to like maybe help sick people, but it helps him with like making them into like powered people. But yeah, like probably depends what Bruno does. That's probably the best way to put it. So I'm looking at the chat. Yeah, Gorilla Grodd remember the events, but that could have been maybe like tapping into Barry. I don't know. It could have been like tapping into Barry, something like that. The pandemic destroyed the Mirror Master story. I rewatched recently. They tied it back to Sam Scudder from the early season. Yeah, it's hard to tell whether it was because we don't have another version of it, obviously. I think it definitely affected the finale because the finale is the worst episode of that Mirror Master arc, or episode three of season 7. And it's just because they were trying to set up some stuff for the actual proper season 7. So they sort of like did half a finale, which is a bit of an issue. When does the new episode drop? So the new episode drops 3 days from now. So if you're wondering, oh, why is Paige doing this stream now? There's just a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of days. Tomorrow's my birthday, so I wasn't going to do a stream tomorrow, for obvious reasons. And then the day after that, the Flash movie trailer, the new one, comes out, and my plan is to stream on Twitch. So I do want to stream on YouTube for an hour and a half, and then go to Twitch. I think we did that last time, and I remember I was like burnt out by the end of it. Like I couldn't talk. My throat was like burnt up. And Superman and Lois is on that day as well. And then obviously the day after that is the Flash episode with Oliver Queen coming back. So that's why we're streaming today. But the episode doesn't air for another 3 days. 3 days. So yeah, but hopefully I'll be able to try and confirm the time of the trailer coming out. I think it's going to be 8, like 7:30 or something like that on not tomorrow, the next day. So if you're on New York time, I think it's gonna be like 7:30, 8 p.m. And if you're on like LA time, like 4:30, 5 p.m. time. If you're in Australia, that's about 9:30 a.m. I think 9:30 a.m. Not sure what it'd be like on Europe and stuff like that, but I think that's when the trailer's coming out, because that's when that early screening is happening for that movie. So whenever it comes, we'll do a Twitch stream, which I'm looking forward to. Raiders with the super chat saw some things about Grant's Flash being shown in the movie fighting Black Flash from season 2, while Ezra's Flash runs right through the Speed Force. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I wonder if they've got like different things. So I can tell. So how can I say this without jinxing things? Because I don't know. Because I could potentially get an opportunity over the next, something that might happen in the next like 2.5 weeks roughly, which would be pretty cool. It'd be like the culmination of my channel, which would be sort of crazy. And along with it, I'd probably be able to confirm some details. But from what I've heard, the movie is locked. Like, they have a final version that they're going to show in theaters, but there's other versions that they're going to show at pre-screenings, so people can't spoil things. So with this stuff, I don't know in like not tomorrow, the next day, whether you're going to get spoilers about what happens cameo wise in the movie, whether Grant's in it, what's happening with this character or this character if they show up. And I think a lot of people are still just throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks and just guessing. You can probably just name multiple different DC characters and multiple characters from the Arrowverse to show up, and you'd probably get one right. I mean, you'd probably get one right. Look, I was right, but like, what about the other 97 things you said? So that could be it. But then again, there's other people saying that it's Jay Garrick, the Teddy Sears version, which makes no sense. To me, at least, doesn't make any sense, because he was, like, we only saw him as Jay Garrick a couple of times, like in the suit and hat and the helmet and stuff like that. And then there's people saying it was what was the other one? It was the crisis scene, like with Ezra and Grant, might I say? And what was the other one? There's another one I can't remember. And then this one you're saying here, which is like fighting Black Flash, which it could work. It could be anything. So it's hard to tell exactly what it's going to be. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I don't think it's going to be spoiled later this week. I think it's going to be something that you're probably going to have to wait until the movie actually comes out. So yeah. But thank you very much for that super chat, readers. Hello, Velocity. Welcome to the stream. Will Barry fight Dark Kid Flash? I'd assume so. It looks like they're fighting in the trailer. I think the question is like, how is that just a quick thing that leads up to that final fight, or is Wally taken over like a third of the way through the episode and he's this Dark Kid Flash for like a good chunk of the episode, and Barry has to try and win him back? That'll be very interesting. Teddy Sears as Jay would be weird, although maybe he's their guy to be Jay Garrick going forward. He does actually look like Jay Garrick from the comics and the Injustice games. I don't think he'd probably be their guy going forward, but maybe that's why they thought he looks, interesting. But there might be people going, hold on, that's, especially people that watch the show that go to the movie, it's like, that wasn't Jay Garrick. It was Zoom in disguise. But I don't know. We'll wait and see what they do. So PB&J says, Paige, I really like that Titans Gar episode. If you want to watch a really good episode of just DC TV and embracing DC, and you're like, well, Paige, I've never watched Titans before, I couldn't be bothered watching it. You can literally go watch this one episode. You don't need really that much context to Titans as a show anyway, just outside of knowing that Beast Boy's a character. So if you watch like Teen Titans or something like that, and you know who Beast Boy is, you should go watch that episode. It's really, really good. And there's like different cameos, and they pretty much do a Crisis on Infinite Earths thing in that episode. Like, you should go watch it if you haven't watched it. I've never been that big of a fan of Titans as a show. It's never really been my thing. I just really couldn't get into it. I just more enjoyed the characters. But I always felt like the stories they tried to do just didn't really work outside of maybe season 1. And then that sort of fell up, that like there was a bit of issues towards the end there. I'm not too sure exactly what happened. This season's probably been the most consistent, but even then I'm not loving it. People might disagree, but that's just me. But that episode with Gar or Beast Boy is really good. You should go watch it if you haven't. Apologies for the 2010s hipster lingo, but that Titans episode was tight. Is that 2010s hipster? I don't know. Maybe it is. Lingo probably, that could be something from the 80s as well. Who knows? Spoiler, Paige arrests Ezra in a post-credit scene. I don't think it's my job to do that. I don't think it's my job to do that. I'm very curious, though, if Ezra Miller shows up at the screening in not tomorrow, the next day. I'm very interested to see if Ezra shows up. Because Ezra's just hasn't been anything. But then again, they might want to avoid it. Who knows? Yeah, as I said, Cal, I didn't. Yeah, Titans is like a show you either love or you hate, and I don't know. Like, I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't love it, that that still watches it, and it's mainly just to stay up to date because it is tight. It's a bigger show. But then again, I don't watch Doom Patrol. But anyway, did you see the finale dates for Superman, Lois, and Gotham Knights is June 27th? Yeah, is it 27th or 24th? No, Flash is 24th, May 24th. So yeah, June 27th. I did see that. Which I don't know if that like how many episodes they have left. 10? No, 10. They only got 15 episodes. They got 8 episodes. So they might take one more week break off. I'm not too sure. I know Flash doesn't have any more breaks. So Superman and Lois might have another week off. I'm not too sure though. They probably will. I don't know if that's been announced. How many people do you bet turn up to CinemaCon dressed in Hawaiian shirts? Well, it's in Las Vegas, isn't it? So, I mean, the time I went to Vegas, there was a lot of people in Hawaiian shirts or button-up shirts, one of the two, when I was at Vegas that one time. So, yeah, probably wouldn't surprise me too much, even if it wasn't intentional, that there probably would be a bunch of people there. I was curious, do you think Blue Beetle going to be... Am I excited for Blue Beetle? Off the trailer, I was excited. I think Blue Beetle's going to be fine. I'm sort of like mid with it. Like, and that doesn't mean I'm not looking forward to it. It's just that like, it's not like I'm counting down the days. Like when it's probably the week of release, we're like, oh, stoked, can't wait. Get to watch Blue Beetle. But I'm not sitting here going, oh, like I'm counting down the days. Like I can't wait to see the Flash movie, for example. But Blue Beetle's just like when it comes out, it comes out, But it'd be. I've seen people hating on it a lot, saying the trailer was awful. The trailer was definitely not awful; it just wasn't amazing. It could have been a bit better, but like I thought it was still a pretty solid trailer, and I think the movie still looks pretty good. I think the guy that's playing Blue Beetle looks pretty good. Do you think Mateo is Bruno's son? I want to say yes. My answer, if I had to say yes or no, I'd probably say yes. But I'm not overly confident. I'm not 100% confident, might I say. But yeah. Do you think Ginger Wally West ever had a chance of showing up in the show? Do you mean like Titan? If you mean Titans, then maybe. In regard, if you mean the Flash show, then no, because and this is anything against Hunter who's asked that question, but like I didn't really understand the thing about Ginger Wally West because they made it clear in season 1 that the Wests were black, so Wally West would always be black if he showed up on the show. And technically, Keenan's like half black, half white because his mum's white. But still, like if you'd look at Keenan and go, oh, he's just black. So yeah, like I think yeah, I can understand that. Like I know that people want like the the classic looking Wally West, but like if you're talking about Titans, did they have the Easter egg to Wally in Titans? I can't remember if they did. No, that was Roy Harper. They had Roy Harper make the on the phone. I don't think they had Wally West. At least from memory, I don't think they had Wally West. Is there a reason why people are saying that Hunter Zolomon is in the Flash movie? They're saying that Hunter Zolomon as Jay Garrick is in the movie. Did I word that right? I think I did. They're saying that Hunter Zolomon as Jay Garrick is in the movie. Yeah, I think I worded that right. And that's what people are saying. Who knows what it's going to be? Who knows what it's going to be? Mateo Mannheim, the alliteration is there. Yeah, it's like Lois Lane. It's like Lex Luthor. It's like Guy Gardner. The alliteration, it works there. And look at Mateo. Like the other theory is that he was Dr. Irons' son, so Mateo Irons. But then again, if we get to this point where him and Natalie get any sort of like romantic stuff going on. It's like bordering some Sweet Home Alabama. So probably just better to even avoid, even if there's multiversal stuff there, best to avoid that. What if Mateo is Boss Moxie's son? Well, in the comics, Bruno is Boss Moxie's son. So I don't know if they'll do that. Mateo Moxie, that could work, I guess. Is 2024 a dry year for DC? What is your view and opinion on this comment? I think it's dry in regards to what we know, if that makes sense. You have Joker. Joker's it that's coming out next year. Like I've seen, like this isn't me like going, ooh, but I've seen people going like, oh, Paigey, what are you going to do, once the Flash ends? And like, well, I've been doing other videos anyway. I mean, I think I did like a month and I think I did 6 weeks last year without doing a Flash show video. 6 weeks last year without doing one. That was fine. In regards to like me actually producing content. But I've seen like, I didn't really think about it till maybe like 2 weeks ago. And I was thinking, wow, anyone that does DC stuff for the most part is screwed coming into next year. There's nothing there. Like there's nothing there. I know there's like stuff that's going to be filming, but like you'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel. So that's the hope with James Gunn that I think there's a lot of hope hope or optimism, if you want to put in regards to how much stuff he announces so people can actually talk about it. Because DC can't just fade away for a year and not do anything. Like that hurt it going from, what was that year? Was it 2018? I think it was 2018 where nothing came out until right at the end. And it was Aquaman. Aquaman had this like really fluky 1 billion, if you're being completely honest. I think it still would have done very good, but it was very, very surprising it hit 1 billion. And a lot of the movies after that just didn't really perform that well. And that's because people had sort of like just stood back from DC movies at the very least. So I'm very interested to see what James Gunn does in that period. And that's probably why a lot of people think, I don't know if it really matters too much. It might. I might be just blind to it. But a lot of people think that's the reason Superman Lois will get renewed, is solely because there's not a lot of DC stuff coming out. But it's mainly a CW thing. The CW doesn't care about other DC stuff coming out on HBO Max or whatever it is. They care about, okay, is this worth us doing this show? So yeah. Well, I think everyone had a dead year in 2020 because it was COVID. Like nothing came out. Do you like suit upgrade for Tyler's Superman for Superman Lois season 3, Paigey? It's minor, and to be honest, you don't really notice it too much unless he's in like a lit. So that scene from, well, not last week's episode because it wasn't an episode last week, but the previous episode when he goes into like the DOD and he fights Deadline, and like it's a more lit up room. The suit looks really good in that scene because you can actually tell it's a new suit. When he's in like a darker area, it doesn't really look like a new suit. So I prefer when it's in like a lit up area, you can actually properly tell it's a new suit. I think it looks really good. I like the upgrade, but you don't get him in lit up areas, at least so far, too much this season. Sorry, I'm just looking through the chat. So I think I just joined in like halfway through a conversation. I didn't get the context of what I was reading. Yeah, people have asked me why do Marvel content, because because I'd like to think that I make genuine content in regards to the stuff I talk about. I actually know what I'm talking about. If I did Marvel stuff, like I know some X-Men stuff and some minor Spider-Man stuff. Like those are the things I read. And then I had like, I think I read like 3 things of like Deadpool, like around the time, maybe before the first Deadpool movie came out. I think it was like before the first Deadpool movie. So I don't know anything. Like when like Marvel's announcing all this stuff, I'm like, who the hell is this character? I've never heard of them. But when DC announces stuff, most of the time I know who they are. Like the only ones I didn't know were Creature Commandos. And yeah, the Creature Commandos. I think they were the only ones I didn't really know too much about. And the Authority. I heard of the Authority, but I didn't really know too much about them. And Creature Commandos, I'd heard their name in passing in like other things, but never actually read anything. Like I didn't know what the actual group was meant to be. But outside of that, everything else that gets announced, most of the time I know about it. So yeah. Well, I did One Division videos on the members thing, the members content sort of thing, which I didn't mind doing because that was actually a really good show. That didn't matter whether you're into Marvel or not. Yeah, I'll be covering the new Barbie movie. There'll be breakdowns, reactions, theory videos, did spoiler kill Barbie, stuff like that. So keep your eyes out for that one. How will Oliver Queen come into play? I think he's just going to show up, dude. I think he's just going to show up and be like, I'm here. But the thing is that scene in the trailer, like I'm sure everyone's seen it, where it's like what do you call it? Barry, like laying down on Lian Yu. That's I think I'm have to think that's purgatory, like where the Spectre lays, like that plane of the universe. You'd have to think that's there, and like Barry's been transported there, because it just seems like he's crash landed there, like he was unwillingly taken there, and like almost like Oliver was waiting for him. So that's what it seems like, and it's probably just because maybe like because the Spectre's sort of like meant to act upon things when like the multiverse is potentially in danger, or like anything that he's looking over is in danger, which is the multiverse in this instance. So yeah, I think that's pretty much how he's going to come to play. A pretty basic thing, but it makes sense. It's not like it's basic and just like what the hell. That just seems like a like you're just skipping over things pretty easily. It seems like it's going to make sense. Do you think this is the end of the Arrowverse actors? Will we never see them again? It depends. A lot of like the thing is like Grant, anyone that was on there for pretty much the entire run. So Grant, probably Candace, Daniel Panabaker, maybe even Carlos, like Valdez. They probably don't have to work again. But the thing is, if they want to keep living, like where they live and stuff like that, you have to keep working. But the thing is, you see that like some of those people that do like 1 or 2 shows, and I'm sure people here have been to those conventions and stuff like that, whether it's in America or somewhere in Europe or in Australia, they make so much money off going to those tours, those conventions. A lot of them don't have to. They get like, I think it was, someone said it in a like someone asked him. I think it was Manu Bennett who played Deathstroke, and he was like, why would I go act again when I can just go do these conventions, and he gets paid more just to show up, let alone the money that is paid when they get the photos done and stuff like that. And you get to travel the world for free. They fly you out to Greece to do a convention. They fly you out to London to do a convention. They fly you out to California to do a convention. You just do those conventions. They make so much more money than they would acting, and they just get to chat with fans, talk about their experience. I guess the only downside is that if you didn't like doing a show, so if you hated doing a show and you had to keep talking about it, that'd be a bit of a pain in the ass, and you'd probably just prefer doing a TV show or something like that. So yeah, like I remember reading something where like COVID was that massive issue because they couldn't do them properly. And there was all those really weird ones where like they're like online and stuff, and they were a bit awkward. I've seen some ones where like back in the COVID year when like that you'd go into like it was almost like this. It's almost like a StreamYard or like a Zoom type thing, and there'd just be like the person, let's say it's Manu Bennett, played Deathstroke, and it's just like 4 people that paid there, and I guess it's like a Q&A, but it's just like you can tell the person would have preferred to be in person doing something. But yeah. Yeah, like Tom Welling barely works now, but I'm pretty sure still lives in LA and still has a nice house and everything. Like when you see that, you're like, okay, well, they definitely either made a lot of money when they're doing something, or they're doing something on the side that lets them keep doing that. They'll keep living like that. So yeah. Here's the thing: there'd be a bunch. Like this thing. That's the thing. Especially like actors that maybe normally wouldn't do it. You probably see a lot saying that the show's done now because they can just go away for a weekend. But when the show was on and they're filming, they'd rather go home and just chill out for the weekend than go back and film. But now, there's no schedule there. I'd be hella disappointed if Grant doesn't land huge. I'd be hella disappointed if Grant doesn't land huge roles on the big screen. He's seriously a top tier actor. Well, I think he will, but it just depends on what Grant wants to do. Like I think he might not want to do anything big. You know, he might not want to do anything big and stuff like that. So yeah. Fish, I've sent you a comment a couple of times. You can see the room. Like what you see is the room. Like there is a bag, windows there. Like, yeah, what you see is that. Like there's nothing that interesting. Like that's why I put it all there. The stuff you see is like anything of interest in the room. So what Stargirl prop photo thing, obviously YouTube play button, Stephen Amell signed photo thingy, Lego Batman head bust, what do you call it? But yeah. Grant made 200K, 200 to 350K an episode for The Flash. Wouldn't be shocked if he's done from acting. He'll keep acting. It's just that he can do what he wants. It's like when you see, like, I mean, there's a reason that like someone can be in like Harry Potter, for example, and they could be constantly acting, but it's all smaller stuff because they can just do stuff that they enjoy. You know, they don't have to go do some big budget, I don't know, Iron Man or something like that. I'm scared Collar Blue's motivations are going to be rushed. I don't think so, because I think the focus is going to be there. If it wasn't focused and we knew that there was going to be like these random ass storylines, like side stories, then it'd be a bit of a worry. But, and obviously this is me making presumptions just based off what we've seen promo wise and stuff leading up to this. But I feel like it's going to be focused. I just feel like it's going to be focused, and there's not going to be too much detouring, especially with Barry traveling back. You know, if like Barry was if Barry was still in like 2023 or whatever it is, but then we were randomly going back to Cobalt Blue in the past or whatever it is, then I'd be worried, because I'm like, there's no synergy there between the two storylines. But it seems like Barry's going to be there where all this stuff is happening. So yeah. Okay. Eric, Matt, you got to start writing. I'm not too sure. I feel it looked like you're copying and pasting something and then writing like half a sentence afterwards. I can't understand anything you're writing in the chat, Matt. I'm sorry. What was this? Paige, what are your thoughts on... I never watched that show, so I don't know what Dean Cain was like as Superman. That show was like, what? Was that like early, mid-90s or something? Like I never watched that show. Like I've seen the suit and everything, but I never watched it. I just know that he played Superman. But yeah, I never played it. Do you think Rick Cosnett will get a sufficient amount of screen time? Yep. I think he'll get a decent amount. My only worry is how they make sense of like him having the collar blue suit, because I wasn't expecting that. I don't think many people were. So that's my question around, is like, how does he, like, what's the reason for him having this suit? You know, like that's the big question I have. Because it's like a fully fledged suit. So I don't know if it's something where the crystal makes it, because we know he has that crystal. So I don't know if the crystal somehow does it, or it's just from the future, maybe something like that. Color Blue isn't in the present. No. So without spoiling things, not this week's episode, because obviously the Oliver Queen one, but next week's episode, the official start of the Color Blue story, we go back to the year 2000. So Barry's stuck in I think it's the year 2000. And we don't know necessarily. Actually, no, I think we do actually. But we know the crystal was there, and I think Cobalt Blue was there, because I think Rick Cosnett filmed some stuff. I'm very excited, because if there's people still wondering, you know, should I have any worries with the Cobalt Blue thing? We only have to wait 3 days. No, 3 days? Yeah, 3 days. And we get the trailer. We get the first trailer for that, for episode 10. And they might do another sort of trailer. I'm not too sure. They might do a long one, which maybe shows the final. I think they did that with Arrow from memory. But then again, Arrow had that weird thing where it came back after Crisis for 2 episodes. They might do something where they show like a final graphic novel trailer where they show snippets of like the final 4 episodes, and they could release that maybe before episode 10. There's a possibility they could do that, but I wouldn't say it's a certainty, but who knows? That could happen though, so keep that in the back of your head. But we'll get a decent tease in the next few days in regards to episode 10 with that first trailer, so I'm looking forward to it. Captain J with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Captain J. I bet Stephen Smell. Do you mean Stephen Amell? Stephen Smell makes a lot of money with those cons. If you were them, what would you do? Work or do cons? I think Grant is going to do Broadway. I think it probably depends on who you are as a person. Like Grant has said that he doesn't do the cons that much because I think he has like anxiety. So I think he doesn't like ones where he doesn't, I think he only does them if he feels like he's going to be fine doing it, if that makes sense. I don't know why I do. I'm not an actor, so I would. I don't know if I put my shoes in it, but I think it depends on who you are as a person, you know, and like socially and stuff like that. But you know, I think you'll be able to like talk and stuff like that because they do all those like what would you call them, panels and stuff like that. So it probably depends what you want to spend your time doing and whether you really feel the need to travel or if just the right opportunities pop up. But yeah, as I said, like anyone that you see doing like at least a good amount, like probably like 4 a year or something, probably make a bunch off that. A bunch, especially if that I saw, who was it? I think it was someone from Stranger Things. I think it was one of the kids from Stranger Things was charging like $100 for a selfie. So you're paying already to get an autograph. And then they had the things like, if you pay $100, we can get a selfie. They were taking selfies all day long. I don't even know how much they would have made just off selfies, like 2-second selfies, like with the like insane. But that's the thing, like they can just do that. They don't have to work. So if you ever see someone on a big TV show, whether it's The Flash, might be someone from Stranger Things, and you never see them again, it's because they don't have to. Like there's a better option for them that's much more easier. And yeah, it's more maybe about they're keeping their name relevant for those cons that maybe might be the issue. But yeah, but I think Grant will do Broadway. I think if you're asking me, something like that. But yeah. When is the Flash episode out? 3 days. So for those, I'll preface it again because we'll go for like another 20 minutes or so on the stream. So if you have any questions, feel free to chuck them in, especially for anything coming out this week. But the reason I'm streaming today is because my birthday's tomorrow, so I didn't want to stream tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, the Flash movie new trailer is out, and it's just a bit of a hectic day that day because Superman Lois is out as well. But I want to do a stream on Twitch, hopefully, depending on what time the trailer comes out, and we'll do a Twitch stream for the Flash trailer like we did for the first one, which people seem to enjoy. And the day after that is the Flash episode. So there's a lot going on. So that's why I did this stream today, because just to fit the schedule and stuff for that, because I don't know where I would have put it otherwise. What's your thoughts on the ARCs system? Not too sure what you mean by ARC system, Fish. You're going to have to ARCs. I'm not too sure. You're going to have to let me know what you mean by ARCs there. I'm not 100% sure, man. When is the next Hunger Games? Probably like 2 weeks from now. I wanted to space them out. So maybe like 2. I'll probably do like a final one before. Yeah. No, this chair is you can't see it. It's a Game of Thrones one. I know. Hold on. You probably can't see it. Anyway, it's a Game of Thrones one. It's like a Lannister house one. It looks like a Flash one. It does. It legit. Like everyone thinks it's a Flash one. I think if it was Flash, it'd be a bit more of like a red, like the Funko Pop over there. It'd be like that color red. But this is like a Game of Thrones Lannister house one. But yeah, I think this was a COVID purchase because I was like, I'm sitting down so much, I need a comfortable chair, and they were doing a sale because no one was buying their chairs. Do you mean? Oh, okay. So you mean by ARCs, you mean graphic novels? Okay. I'm fine with it. I supported it in seasons 6, 7, 8. I was fine for it. This season, there shouldn't even been a graphic novel system. It should have just been a season-long story. Like, I have no issues if people like the Red Death one, but for me, it just felt like a bit of a waste of time come the end of the day. I don't think it really added too much to the show. So scrap that out. Just do an entire season, 13 episodes, Cobalt Blue, and have those filler episodes in between. Not the only downside, but the biggest downside of the graphic novels is that it doesn't allow them to put those filler episodes in the middle of a arc. In season 6 they did in the back half, but that's because the entire back half was the Mirror Master storyline, pretty much. So that's the biggest downside of the graphic novels, that you can't have 3 episodes of the main story. Let's say it's Cobalt Blue. First 3 episodes, a lot of Cobalt Blue stuff. And then episode 4, you have a disconnected episode with whatever it might be. Like the Oliver Queen episode, for example. That happening in episode 4. And then do another 4 episodes of the Cobalt Blue one, and then have another filler episode, and it's, I don't know, Jay Garrick and Barry doing something in the timeline, to fix something along those lines. That's the biggest downside of the graphic novel system in regards to how Eric Wallace tackled it. And you're feeling it the most this season because of just I think they forced the Red Death one. The Red Death one storyline to me seemed incredibly half-baked. And I think it's because they originally weren't planning to do it. There's no setup for Red Death last season. So all the setup was for Cobalt Blue. And I think a lot of people thought that maybe the whole season was going to be Cobalt Blue. So when Red Death randomly showed up, I was like, oh, okay, that's random. Yeah. Rick Cosma did a really great job when he was Deathstorm's hallucination. So I think he's going to be really good as Cobalt Blue. Yeah, that's the thing. My only hope is that I've always said it, that going into the season, my hope is that Rick Cosnet is not Eddie Thorne. I hope it's Malcolm Thorne. I hope it's not Eddie Thorne. Do you think Eric Wallace isn't capable of writing a 13-episode season? I think he is. It's just the way, I don't know if he's been told to do it this way or if he was the one that decided, because to me it just seems like a really big error, the way that they decided to go about it in regards to like Red Death interludes and then not a random Cobalt Blue thing, but like a compacted Cobalt Blue thing when you really could have spaced it out, and it could have been very similar to, it could have been very much evoking stuff from like season 2 or 3, like this whole season being about the villain. But you're not 23 or 22 episodes this time; it's 13. I think in hindsight, he would change it. Now that he's seen because the thing is, I've seen Eric Wallace say, oh, he doesn't read the fan stuff online. But then he contradicts it, saying, oh, I've seen the response to it. I appreciate, like when Armageddon came out and people were interviewing him after Armageddon leading into the rest of the season. People were like, oh, people really enjoyed Armageddon. He was like, yeah, I've seen the response online. I'm really happy with it. But then like before season, I think it was like a preview interview for this season or whatever it is. Or it might have been after season 8, one of the two. It was very recent. It was over the past handful of months. And he was like, I don't read the stuff online. So which one is it? Do you read the stuff online or do you read it? Because he read it from Armageddon, but didn't read it for other stuff. Or he says doesn't read it for other stuff. So I think in hindsight, he would change it. I think he would 100% change it and not do the Red Death thing. I would, people be like, oh, no fillers. I think you do fillers because you get the Oliver Queen. This is a filler episode. Despite what people want to say, this upcoming episode is a filler episode. So you still have those things. But yeah, I think this season should have been a 13 episode, at least focused storyline on the Cobalt Blue thing with like maybe like 3-4 filler episodes or fun episodes sprinkled in. They could have some fun with. I think that's what they should have done. And in hindsight, I think Eric Wallace would have done the same because, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. Probably just the positive stuff and ignores it. But you can't really look at the positive stuff without seeing the negative stuff. It's like I can't go through a comment section and see people going, hey, Paige, I like this video, and then someone calling me an idiot. Like, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? So if you're going to look out for the positive stuff, you're also going to see the negative stuff. Does that make sense? Like, I think that makes sense. Hopefully I put it in a correct way. Like, I don't know how you could, look out for the negative, positive stuff, but not see the negative stuff. Unless they have like a filter, like remove the word crap or ass or something like that. Like, I don't know. I think he sees it, but the thing is, I just don't. He might not care. Like that's the thing. He might not care. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Once again, Eric May, you've written something completely random in the chat. Eric, Oliver Queen isn't filler, but it's still filler. Like it's still not like filler to me is anything that's not a part of the main storyline. And filler doesn't like people correlate filler as bad. It's not. Enter the No, Enter Flash Time. Enter Flash Time. I was going to say Enter the Speed Force. Enter Flash Time. It's a filler episode. You can't deny that. It's a filler episode. Doesn't mean it's not a good episode. I mean, that Wally... I've been shaking my table. I feel like I'm in an earthquake. The Wally West episode in season 6, great episode. The Grot episode in season 6, great episode. But they're all filler episodes. Did we have an episode last season that was a filler episode? Like that Into the Still Force is technically, off Eric Wallace's words, an interlude or filler episode. So filler episode doesn't mean bad. It just means not directly related to the storyline they're doing. What was the thing I saw up here I wanted to reply to? Yeah, this is the thing that confused me. I think I brought this up in... Was it a video or a live stream? I can't remember what it was. But Eric Wallace said he didn't know the lightning bolt striking Barry theory. He said, he's never heard of it when someone asked him, like, was it about a month ago? And then Grant Gustin said in an interview recently, that TV line one that, like, I think towards the beginning of the season or something, or sometime in the past, he'd brought this theory to Eric Wallace and said, what do you think of this? Like, so which is it, Eric Wallace? Did you hear it from Grant? Is Grant lying, or are you lying that you never heard it? I don't know. Maybe he just didn't. Maybe he didn't realize that Flash. That not Flash. Well, I guess Flash, but Grant was going to say that. So yeah. Paige, do you read Flash comics? I mean, I've got a bunch of Flash comics back there. But not majority of those are Flash, but a bunch of them are Flash. I mean, they're in alphabetical order for the most part, so there'll be a decent like just chunk there that are Flash comics. What if Keone uses her powers to kill Collar Blue? I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think so at the very least. I don't know what they're going to do with Keone in regards to how overpowered she's going to be, because I think she's clearly going to be overpowered, but I don't know how overpowered she is going to be. It's a bit of a flip of the coin. New comments. I don't think Eric Wallace has no clue. I just think because he's done some really good stuff on the show. Like when people say that, oh, Eric Wallace is terrible, he's never done anything good. I'm like, come on, man. Like, seriously? I know how you could watch from season 6 when he took over and said he's done nothing good. I just think and this could maybe be an issue with the writers' room as a whole, but it feels like everything's, like a lot of the stuff that ends up being bad, it feels like it's like a first draft, or like there's no shooting down. It's like, oh, what about this? It's like, that's a bit of a crap idea. How about we don't do that and do something else? That's probably the better way to do it. So I think it's probably the best, like that's probably the best way to put it. I feel like the Red Death stuff, for example, this season, it felt very first draft, as if like no one really went, hold on, is this going to make sense? Like, what's the purpose of doing this? So there's issues there. Eric Wallace isn't terrible. I don't think he's woke. The Flash has been criticized, especially since Eric Wallace took over, for not being woke enough. So he's definitely not woke. If anything, he sort of goes against that because he's been criticized for not being woke. So yeah, don't agree with that. I think it's just maybe like it might be like it might be cockiness. It might be cockiness after season 6, but then again, after season 7, that should really knock you back down to reality. Because people attack him after. I like season 8. I like season 8 a lot. I just really do not like the beginning of this season. This 9th season. So yeah, he's had like season 6 was like 80% of it was really, really good. Season 7 down the drain. So you're like 1-on-1. So that's 1 for good, 1 for bad. Season 8, good. Good is winning 2-1. First half of season 9, yikes. Okay, so it's about 2 versus 1.5. So the big question is, how's season 9 going to end? Is it going to give a 0.5 to the good, or is it going to make it 2-on-2? So that's the big question. Seasons 8 had 2 bad episodes, which was the Allegra one and the Allegra one's. Well, the thing is, the Allegra one, the Allegra story is awful. But then again, that same episode is the Mina Dar one introduction episode where Barry goes to Lian Yu and talks to Thorne, and that's really good. So you have like 25% of the episode is really good. The rest is not very good at all. Which will probably make it bad, because I imagine if you had like a sandwich and it's like, oh, the bread's really nice. Oh, but what's inside it? Dirt, rocks, and mud. Like, it's not going to taste very good, is it? So, yeah, I think that's a good analogy. But yeah, I think this season's going to end solid. I don't think it's going to end bad. People might overreact, which I'm expecting. There'll be like one dodgy scene and everyone forgets everything that's good in an episode because that happens online. People like to overreact, but I have faith. And the thing is, I didn't have faith in the Red Death thing and I was proven right. So yeah. Season 8 finale isn't good. Yeah, I've said it before. I think the whole finale for season 8 isn't good. It's it's the Thorn stuff in that finale, which isn't very good. It's completely rushed, the Thorn stuff. But everything else in that finale is fine. It's just a very weak finale. So like when people say that should have been the series finale, like, yo, what the hell? No way. No way in the world. That is the worst take ever. So that season 8 finale should have been the series finale because it wasn't very good. Season 8 was amazing, honestly, the best from the past. I agree. It's my third favorite season 8. I just don't like the finale too much, and that I feel like there's one other episode outside of that Allegra episode, which is weird, but I can't think what it is. I think I'm pretty sure there's one other episode there, but I can't think of it at the top of my head. I feel like it might be one of the Black Flame episodes, but it wasn't bad. It was just drawn out. I think that was my issue with it. I can't remember off the top of my head though. Why do you think Eric Wallace wastes his budget on huge explosions instead of giving us the good old fights? I'm not too sure what you're referencing there specifically. You might have to actually bring up a example because I'm not too sure what you're thinking. You're referencing there. No, I didn't mind that excessive compulsive disorder, that Bart and Noah episode. It wasn't amazing, but I thought it was fun, and that's the whole point of it. I thought it was fun, and I think it delivered in what it needed to do. What is your favorite season? 9 or episode? Wait. Not too sure you're asking there once again. What is your favorite season? 9 or episode? Yeah, you're going to have to rewrite that comment. I don't know what you're saying. For example, in season 8 finale, he wasted the budget on lightning throwing instead of punching and fighting. Maybe. I don't know. The thing is that with the speeds to fight, a lot of the times it's just like slow motion stuff, and I don't know, maybe they just think that lightning. To be honest, I think they're probably the same. Like what slow motion, like fighting like that. Versus, it's to me, it's the same. Anything in the lightning, throwing lightning looks cooler. So I don't think it's like one's much better than the other. To me, they seem the same, unless you had like a speeds to fight running through. But then again, that might have felt the same. Like the thing is, that's the best scene. The best scene in the Red Death arc is that it's very short, but like I think it's like 30 seconds, it might be 20 seconds or something. But when Red Death and Barry or Red Death and Flash running through Central City, and it's like you're seeing like the Batman aspects of Red Death with like the Batarang and like the grapple hook and swinging through. That's the coolest scene in the entire Red Death arc, and it only goes for like 20 seconds or something. But that's like because it was a different type of speeds to fight with running through. It wasn't just them running through and like one merging over and punching. It was completely different, which is why it was cool. But that's why I'm very interested to see with the Cobalt Blue thing, because I don't know if Cobalt Blue is going to be a character that steals powers, so that's how he can be a speedster, or if it's maybe like I don't know how Cobalt Blue is going to be. I really hope that Cobalt Blue has his sword. I really want him to have his goddamn sword, but I have a feeling he's not going to have it. But then again, we've only seen him in the suit in one scene, so we don't know if he's going to have it or not. Am I making a cameo in the Flash finale? I mean, it'd probably be like top tier meme. I think the West Allen fan would probably have a meltdown, but that'd be pretty funny. Lockdown was the episode. That was the episode, the Goldface episode. That's the one I was trying to think. I knew there was an episode somewhere in there. I was like, I know there's more interludes because there was 2 sectors of interludes throughout the season, and there's one I'm pretty sure at the beginning. And it's Lockdown. I couldn't remember what it was. I knew it was that like in that first half, but I didn't hate that episode. I thought that was actually made Goldface actually a pretty fun character. Like before he was a bit of a memey, stupid character, but I actually didn't mind that. The biggest issue with that episode is that they don't follow through on the whole like Barry and Kramer sort of things. it's not followed through with. They sort of set up like Kramer being like trained, and I think it happened, but off screen. So yeah, but I didn't mind that episode. It was silly, but I mean, I don't know if anyone went into that episode thinking it was going to be some like Shakespearean drama, like perfect thing. Yeah, I didn't mind that episode. What was the other ones that you said? Because you wrote down all the interludes. What was it? Excessive. Yeah, well, we already mentioned that. I didn't mind that episode. Keep It Dark. That's the Allegra episode, which is like crap for like 75% of it. But that Barry Thorne stuff is really good. Funeral for a Friend was a weird one because I feel that was just a nothing episode. It wasn't bad. I thought it was like really like it was touching, but it was all like also like I don't know if we needed this like for an entire episode. But yeah. What if the sword at the CGI? Yeah, well but I thought he might have had like a handle thing, and then the sword comes out of the handle, and like all the blue flame from the sword is CGI, but he still has a handle thing. But as I said, we only saw one scene of it being filmed, so who knows if maybe that thing gets destroyed, or if it like just outside of that scene he has it. Like, you know, that might be the case there. But I hope he has it at least in one sort of thing there. That's what I'm really hoping. If Cecile is the cameo in the Flash movie, that would be top tier meme. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Actually, I'm having like a bit of a day nightmare, whatever you'd call it. I'm thinking about that. Deathstorm was cool AF. Yep, I agree with that. My biggest issue with that is just the black flame thing at the beginning. I just feel like it just wasted an episode or two. No, one episode specifically. I feel like one episode could have been taken out. You could have merged two of them together. Give this man his glowing blue stick. Well, I don't want a lightsaber sort of thing. I want a proper sword sort of thing. I don't want like, what was it, season 7 Godspeed sort of fight. We don't need that. We don't need that. I wouldn't mind. Well, the thing is, I think we don't have. Actually, that's very disappointing. I just realized probably not going to get any more Goldface this season. We didn't get any more Daddy Likes the Metal. Very disappointing. But guys, we're actually going to end the stream here. We've been going for an hour. That was the plan. So, wow, season 8 finale is your favorite finale so far. That's fine, Fizgoji. I don't agree, but that's fine. We all like people. I like season 4, and people hate season 4. So we all have our own maybe hot takes or personal takes, whichever way you want to put it. But yeah, so tomorrow. Well, I might have. Actually, I do have a video ready to go out tomorrow. But on Wednesday, or for me, it's Wednesday, so not tomorrow, but the next day, we have the Flash movie trailer coming out. Hopefully, I'll be able to try and confirm a time when it's coming out so I can plan it. But the plan is to stream on Twitch like we did with the first one, just because on YouTube, if you've been in the streams before, copyright stuff, it's a pain in the ass. So Twitch will be the place we do that. Once again, got to figure out the time. I think it's going to be at about 7 New York time or 7:30 New York time or like 4:30 LA time, something like that. But I'll try and confirm it then. And yeah. And then obviously that same day is Superman Lois. The next day after that is the Oliver Queen return episode. So yeah, a bit of a jam-packed week. But thanks for everyone that joined in. Hope everyone has a good day. Stay safe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.